And stop the music. But before we get into talking about the throttle controller, I need to take a sip of coffee, which is definitely not water from a suspect cup. Anyway, back to being serious, and it's actually quite hard, I'm finding, to review a throttle controller because at this point in time, most people know what a throttle controller does. But I tell you what, first thing I like about this throttle controller is that it can be either. It can either be Bluetooth controlled, which you saw how to download the app and pair it, or it can be manually controlled. So you can still manually mount it where you want it if you do want to go that way. My preference is going to be the Bluetooth use. So what we did is we hooked it up and we took it off-road. Imagine that. It has a stack of different functions, right? It's got eco and tow mode and overtake mode, and on the list goes. You can select the mode you want on the Bluetooth really easy, and then you can select how much on that mode you want, sort of dampen or increase the throttle response in that mode. But the one that was most interesting for me was always going to be the off-road mode. Now, off-road mode really dampens down the throttle response so that you have significantly more control. And you can see that as I drive through the Wombats here, that it's really controlled. I don't have any bumps on the throttle. It does sort of slow it down quite a lot, I would say, so you don't carry a lot of pace. But that's the mark of good four-wheel driving anyway. Anyone can send anything, you know, you can send a Holden Commodore up a hill climb if you want. I wouldn't suggest it, but you can. The other thing I appreciated about off-road mode was when I go up little steps or things like that, typically I would probably keep the throttle in, probably bump it a little, which does put a little bit more stress and strain through the car. You can see here that it sort of bumps up, steps up, and then it doesn't sort of just fire forward again. It gently applies the throttle for me, despite me banging around on the accelerator pedals. Now you can see the differences between the modes as I move out of off-road mode into normal mode here. And then moving out of normal road into race mode on the dirt. In each of these examples, my throttle percentage doesn't really fluctuate, but you can see the difference that the throttle controller makes. Eco mode in a throttle controller is also a favorite, and with the 9 different stages of eco mode, you can find one that works well for you. I'm a little bit more of a lead foot, so I'm running in Sport 3 around town right now, and I find that's really my happy place. My recommendation with any throttle controller, but especially with this one, is try all the modes, and with the Bluetooth, it's absolutely the easiest thing to do. We've also got rumble mode, which is going to be excellent for those of us who've got exhausts or your big V8 diesel or something like that, and you want it to sound pretty mint. It's got sort of preset modes that have different fluctuations of applying the throttle for 120 seconds. A 5-second wait time, but then you can set it to any mode, or you can customize it so that the sound from your exhaust, the sound from your engine can be whatever you want. Ultimately though, that's not the main function of the throttle controller. Now personally, I love this throttle controller. My previous throttle controller was a manual one. I kept it in the same spot in that little coin box, so I'd have to open that up and cycle through the modes and then up and down with the amount of throttle response I wanted. This one is just so much easier with the screen. You can just flick through and adjust things on the fly. Really convenient. Spectacular throttle controller, really sharpens the response around town, dampens it off-road, however you want it. There's so much functionality with this thing. And of course, if you use my coffee code, you get to save yourself 25% off the purchase price. Now, the throttle controller is not the only thing we've got from Elite Drive. We're also going to be testing out the power module for the T60. If you want to beat me to the punch, you can actually get 10% off that using Ricey 10. So yeah, Elite Drive, they are bringing the noise, not just to the T60, across a huge range of vehicles on their website. Well worth checking out. And yeah, how about we look at some four-wheel driving?
This is gonna get crazy.
Well driven, man. Oh. Ouch. Very nice.